In this otherworldly part of Midwich, Harry finds the remains of a skinned corpse hanging from the ceiling. Written in blood on the wall, it reads, "Leonard Rhine, the monster lurks." This, of course, is presented as a warning. It also serves as a signpost which points to a book by the same name that Harry may only find by first entering this room. Harry finds the book entitled The Monster Lurks by Leonard Rhine, which Alessa has presumably left open to chapter 3, which is entitled Manifestation of Delusions. This chapter mentions intense negative emotions like fear, which can manifest into the physical world with certain effects. This phenomena is especially prevalent in adolescent girls. Alessa, or perhaps Alessa's ghost, are trying to communicate her torment to Harry. Remember the 3 notes Harry finds when first entering the school. The first and second reference gold and silver, or the father and the mother, and the third references a tormented beast. According to this book, the beast mentioned in the note is a manifestation of Alessa's pain and suffering. It seems no coincidence that the very founder of parapsychology is none other than J.B. Rhine, a professor at Duke University, famous for his book entitled Extrasensory Perception. Now, Rhine's rigorous scientific research included investigations into clairvoyance, telepathy, and psychokinesis. In the book which Harry finds, it references psychokinesis, or the manifestation of physical effects caused by fear or stress. Of course, the passages from The Monster Lurks are offered as clues as to what is happening in Silent Hill and why, much of it being emanations from the physical, emotional, and spiritual torment Alessa has endured for so many years. Speaking of emanations for a moment, we must not forget the countless numbers of knife-wielding gray children which pursue Harry at the beginning of the game and in just about every part of Midwich Elementary. The gray child represents Alessa's endless abuse at the hands of her peers. One such classmate even carving threats into Alessa's desk. This stands as a clue that Alessa most certainly wasn't anything like the rest of her classmates, possessing very powerful psychic abilities, which must have made others feel quite fearful and uncomfortable. Next, Harry finds a book open to a passage from a fairy tale that he remembers reading as a kid. Of course, Alessa must have read this passage as well, which explains the manifestation of the split-head lizard monster a little later on in the game. Curiously, this is one of the only instances where a book or note isn't covered in blood-soaked handwriting. Harry makes his way to the rooftop again after acquiring the rubber ball, allowing the water to flush the key out through the other end of the drainage pipe. The symbolism associated with this seemingly mundane puzzle cannot be understated. Notice the seal of Metatron above the valve that Harry turns. In Silent Hill 3, Valtiel is the lord of the otherworld with the seal of Metatron on each of his shoulders, furiously turning the valves in order to manage the flow between two worlds. It seems as if Harry has taken this role upon himself for this particular exercise. After obtaining the classroom key, Harry is able to access the final area of Midwich Elementary. The turning of both valves in order to open the gate is another indication that Harry is entering a sacred place of ritual in the other world. I refer to this passageway as Valtiel's Gate, which is an entryway to the plenum or middle ground where man may commune with God through a mystical vision of divine revelation. Only in this case, it is Alessa who is providing Harry a vision of things to come, along with a manifestation of her extreme torment. So now, Alessa is not only showing Harry an intense vision of the coming ceremony, but the split-head monster has manifested and threatens to kill him. The monster is a manifestation of Alessa's brutal immolation and the intense suffering associated with it. A pain so intense that she quite literally splits her soul into two parts. This is one reason why the monster has a split head. It stands as an amalgam of Alessa's fear as well as her desire to escape her torment through the creation of Cheryl. Now, let's take a closer look at this scene. The seal of Metatron is on every square inch of this floor. However, the seal appears somewhat differently than it does in the courtyard. This may be a limitation of the textures in the room, perhaps, but notice that the immolated effigy of Alessa is atop the seal of Metatron at one point of the triangle. Remember the importance of threes that we have been shown in the game so far: gold, father, silver, mother, bestial, child. In Magic, the triangle infers the threefold aspect in terms of the physical as well as the metaphysical or spiritual. In other words, the two become three, ushering in the passage from another realm into the next. But even more fundamental, the triangle in the seal of Metatron is the alchemical symbol for fire. Fire is a transcendent and transformative element in Magic, as it brings death in the mortal realm while at the same time transporting spirit to the heavens. In other words, it serves as a conduit or a gateway between realms. This is why the mythical phoenix rises from the ashes, as it dies in one form, yet reborn in another. Fire is used quite a lot in Silent Hill in several different ways. At this early part of the game, it indeed symbolizes Metatron as being ascendant. However, at the end of the game, it symbolizes Samael as it is used in a descendant way. We will go more into detail about Metatron and Samael a little later in this series.